It's July the 22nd picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their Pick 8. Sign up with our code MLB SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MLB SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is loaded up with a ton of props and picks for all of the sport you're following this week. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Sunday, the 21st of July. We are here to start a new week of handicapping across MLB. Monday, the 22nd of July. Joining me is Mr. Lonte Smith. It's been a long time since we had our little Sunday session, Lonte, but we're back. How are you doing?
Yeah, man, doing good. Hopefully we can get back to having winners. I felt like we were a little successful in our Sunday shows. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
We were probably too successful for Munaf's liking. I think he felt threatened, Lundy, threatened by us, so he split us up. So I'm just going to disclaimer at the top of the show here. I am very much out of the bullpen this evening. I was not meant to be on the show, but Scott couldn't make it, so I've jumped in late. So I've handicapped partially the card, but we'll come across those games when I've done it. So if the show or the handicapping seems ever so slightly truncated, then that's what it is. Lonte, however, is in full control. There's not an awful lot of lines, actually. I'm looking at the lines for tomorrow. Sunday night is often an issue. I can see 5 games with lines there's 13 games tomorrow, so we'll see. But yeah, we'll do our best, and no doubt there'll be some winners in there. The chat is live and kicking. Ryan was waiting for us. Ryan, how you doing? Sean joined us. Callum stamps his loyalty card. I just finished the Premier League show about 90 seconds ago, and Callum was in that. So Callum's getting his loyalty points in. And SMK Teach, how you doing? I had a little chat with him on Twitter this week. Actually, made me giggle. So if you are if you are watching on YouTube Live and you want to say hello, or indeed help me out with a few picks, by all means. Throw them in there. There's been some lots of Sunday baseball as it goes. I didn't really have a bet. I watched. I've been kind of busy this afternoon. I watched the Rays beat the Yankees. Yankees are a little bit dysfunctional at the moment. We're going to get to. There's another game. There's another Rays Yankees game Monday. We're going to get to. That's one of my picks actually. So I got a bit of first-hand action in there. So I watched them earlier on. The Orioles eventually dropped a game. So I would need the Red Sox to pick one up tonight just to stay in touch. But we'll get into Monday's games. Firstly, the Sports Gambling Podcast is getting you ready for college football with their conference previews. Tune in wherever you get your podcasts or the SGPN app. Lonte, how's your weekend gone? Did you bet what's been going on? Golf betting for you or anything like that?
Yeah, I had a few golf bets. I had I had Scotty, of course, but he didn't play so well. I had Xander top 10, and a few other guys here and there, but just like some pizza bets, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, it was quite a good tournament. I quite enjoyed it. It was tricky without being really stupid. Some of the US Opens you see, it looks like they're playing on the moon and the ball's bouncing all over the place. Yeah. This just seemed to be quite a good test, and it was the weather that, not so much the course, but it was the weather that buggered everything up. So yeah, that was fun in games. James has joined us. James in the chat, how you doing? So right, we'll attempt to go through these chronologically because my handicapping is all over the place, but we will start actually with that game I have covered. Which is a 1:05 Eastern first pitch between the Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Yankees. Zach Littell will go for the Rays. It is left-handed pitcher Carlos Rodon for the Yankees. The Yankees are minus 155. The Rays are plus 130. Seeing if I can pick up some totals here as well. These lines are coming through literally as we speak. Total is at 8.5 in this one. So yeah, the Rays won today 6-4. We're pretty much always in control of the game. Held the Yankees at arm's length until Aaron Judge did a little bit of damage on one swing of the bat, really. But I didn't think the Rays were ever going to lose that one, and they've now taken 2 of 3 in that series, and this is the 4th game tomorrow. Zach Littell has got one bad start, really, in his game log, 2 starts ago at Texas. But his general trajectory, I think, has been really good. He's only given up 5 earned runs in the 4 games around that Texas start. He's not as good on the road. His ERA is over 5. Carlos Rodon here kind of encapsulates everything about the Yankees. They tend to mirror each other. And that he's just been a little bit underwhelming. He looks a little bit broken. Not terrible, but just not doing enough. Which, like I say, you could apply that to the New York Yankees completely. The Yankees have lost his last 6 starts, Rodon, which is a bit of an astonishing stat. And Tampa Bay Rays hit left-handed pitching much better. They're hitting 267 off lefties. Yankees today, to me, the first run is the hardest one. And they had the bases loaded, 1 out in the first inning. Couldn't get a run over. They had the bases loaded, 1 out in the second inning. They couldn't get a run over. And then when they did do that damage, it was Aaron Judge with a dinger. They're not manufacturing. They're not being able to sequence together enough. And because they haven't been playing well, it was that nervous thing of, right, we've got runners in scoring position here. Can we be clutching? They couldn't. And then Gleyber Torres at second base. I saw him make another error today, which I think puts him. He's made the most errors of any second baseman across MLB. So there's just bits and bobs not quite right about the Yankees. We did say in the halftime show that I said I fancy the Yankees maybe to drop off a little bit in the second half. So I'm going to take the Rays here at plus 130. I think they're a good underdog price because Rodon and New York are not particularly playing very well. So I think that's a fair price. Plus 130 on the Rays.
Yeah, I mean, I think you handicapped that perfect. Rodon is that's a great parallel. Rodon is basically the Yankees season in one person. He's allowed 8 home runs. I'm sorry, in his last 5 starts, 2+ walks in 5 of his last 6. Hasn't got out of the 4th inning in back-to-back starts. So obviously you want to stay away from the Yankees. I think me and Scott both were on the Rays yesterday. I was on them again today. So I thought they were in a good spot. Littell, I mean, his numbers on the road, you mentioned it, kind of do scare me. He's up and down. He gave up 7, then 0, then 2, then 6. So he hasn't found that median to kind of get going. But I mean, the way the Yankees are playing, I mean, it's Aaron Judge or nothing. I know Stanton's probably going to be on the way back, but yeah, I mean, the story of the Yankee season, can't score when it matters, ground into double plays when you can't ground into double plays, can't even get a sac fly to the outfield to get a guy from third. I mean, that's just the Yankee season right now. So I think they're a fade candidate until the end, man. So I like Tampa as well.
Right. We move on to a lot of this. You're doing the heavy lifting now, Lonte, for a few minutes. 6:40 Eastern first pitch. The Detroit Tigers at the Cleveland Guardians. Tarek Skubal, left-handed pitcher for Detroit. Carlos Carrasco will go for the Guardians. As it stands, I'm not seeing any lines on this one at all. I feel like I handicapped Skubal about 5 nights running here. And me and Dylan did the show on Thursday night, and it was an absolute shambles. If anyone listened to that, the games that took place on Friday bore no resemblance to the games we handicapped on Thursday. It was absolutely all over the place. And Tarek Skubal's been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, but eventually gets to start here. If you've got any lines, Lonte, shout them out. But if not, just give us your handicap on the Tigers at the Guardians.
Yeah, I don't see any lines either, but I'm probably just going to go over. I know Skubal on the mound, so we'll probably get a lower number. Detroit has, progressed well, especially offensively. They've won 4 of 7 head-to-head against Cleveland. 5 of those 7 were one-run games, and they also went over. 5 of the 7 games did go over. maybe a first 5 over as well. Both bullpens have been pretty good over the last 10. The starting pitcher's ERA is about 2 runs above the relievers. So I think both offenses can get going here. Cleveland struggled a little bit this weekend, and they have been struggling a little bit going into the All-Star break. But if you look at Detroit, man, their offense hitting 278 last 10, 6.1 runs per 9.7 hits. They had a pretty good day today. So I like the over, even with Scuba on the mound. I think that the offense for Cleveland will be able to muster up some runs here. They hit lefties okay, so I think they can. I think they can get it done with some runs. If we can get four or 5 runs from either side, I think we can go over the number. Because I'm guessing it'll be like 7.5, 8, because due to Scuba being on the mound.
Yeah, I like Detroit in this spot. I kind of like them all weekend, and they've had a decent weekend in Toronto. Lost today, but did okay over the weekend. We picked them a couple of times across the weekend shows, and Carrasco, Scuba v Carrasco is pretty much the handicap.
Yeah.
The only thing that puts you off with Cleveland at home is that terrifying home record, which was 31-11, but it's now 31-13. So they've lost twice at home over the weekend. So that doesn't deter me too much. Did Cleveland get on today? Who did they lose to?
They lost to
San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego.
Yeah, he shut them down actually on Saturday.
Yep.
And Michael King limited them to just 2 hits today, the Cleveland Guardians.
He had a no-hitter
So,
through like 6 innings, I think. He had a no-hitter through like 6 innings, I think. Yeah.
So they haven't been going great guns since we resumed from the All-Star break. So, yeah, a nice place to take the Detroit Tigers. 6:40 Eastern first pitch is the New York Mets against the Miami Marlins. It is David Peterson, left-handed pitcher for the Mets. Yonny Chirinos will go for the Marlins. -165 New York, +140 Miami. Total here is set at 8.5. David Peterson here, he's been in excellent form for the Mets. The Mets have won his last 7 starts, which is a nice streak. He's 4-0 with a 3.09 ERA. He's given up max 2 earned runs in his last 5. He's got a 10-4 win over Miami to his name on June the 12th as well. He's been absolutely fine on the road. Yonny Chirinos for Miami started okay when he came into their rotation, but we did predict a little bit of regression for him, and I think we were absolutely right to do so. 13 earned runs across his last 3 starts. Miami do not hit left-handed pitching well at all. 228 average against the lefties. I like the Mets. It's -165, so it's a short price. But I don't mind the Mets on the run line, and I don't mind the Mets team total either, Lonte.
Yeah, I like the Mets on the run line. We're getting all 9 at bats here. This is a good, I guess, quote-unquote, revenge spot for Peterson. If you remember, his worst start of the year came in his second game, and it was against the Marlins. I think he gave up maybe 5 runs in that. But since then, he's been, really good. He's off 6 scoreless versus the Washington offense, who had a really good weekend and probably one of the more underrated offenses in the MLB. He only allowed over 2 earned runs once. Don't trust Chirinos. He got shelled versus Cincinnati in his last start. He hasn't been bad, like you mentioned, but again, I think the Mets offense will be able to get to get to him. And then on the opposite side, you mentioned it with the Miami struggling against lefty. So I think Peterson is in good form. We're getting all 9 at bats. I'll take the -1.5 at plus money.
Like it, Lonte. Team ride on the Mets. 6:40 Eastern first pitch. The St. Louis Cardinals at the Pittsburgh Pirates. Andre Palante for the Cardinals. Mitch Keller for the Pirates. I think I've seen some lines on this game. Let's have a look. Yes, +115 St. Louis. -135 for Pittsburgh. And a total of, apologies for the delay here, but this is all happening as we speak. Total here is 8.5, Lonte.
Yeah, I mean, I struggled with St. Louis this weekend. I thought the Braves would have a good series. I mean, they won that first game in comeback fashion, but they got throttled in the last 2. So I don't have a good read on St. Louis, but Pittsburgh I got a pretty good read on, and I think we cashed on them all weekend. I think they lost today, but they cashed as a dog for us in back-to-back days, so that's a profitable position there. But I mean, Palante, 1 earned run in 7 innings pitched versus Pittsburgh on July 4th. Prior to that, he's been up and down the past few months. He's been really good, and then he's been really bad. Hasn't really been an in-between. So I think I'm going to go with the over here. Pittsburgh's offense is playing a lot better. Palante, like I said, up and down with the Pittsburgh offense kind of hitting its stride. I like Keller. It is still Keller going, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I like Keller. But on the opposite side, the reason why I'm staying off of Pittsburgh is St. Louis has had his number this season. He's got 9 earned runs on 18 hits in his 2 starts versus them, 4 home runs in his last 3 starts. So I'm going to stay away from the side and think we see some runs here. So I'll go over the total here.
Yeah, St. Louis have had a good weekend. And Pittsburgh, although lost today, Pittsburgh are 8-2 in their last 10. I just think I prefer of the current Cardinals rotation. I think Palante is the one. He's kind of the SP5. He's the one that concerns me a little bit. And when Pittsburgh win, it's Mitch Keller at home. That's kind of a good spot for them. He's got a 2.91 home ERA, 5-2 record from his 9 games started. So no odds on this. Oh, sorry, we did odds minus round about 130 on Pittsburgh. So yeah, I like Pittsburgh at home. This spot for Mitch Keller. We'll move on once we've told you first about Underdog Fantasy, who've just launched their college football best ball product. First place wins $20,000 plus the higher or lower pick 'em. Pick 8 allows you an opportunity to win 325 times your entry. You can use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. Don't miss your chance to try it out before it's gone. And we have been asking people if they are going to sign up, use our code. Give us a little boost here. The code is MLB SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code MLB SGPN. And the Circa Survivor and Circa Millions is back at Circa Sports. $16 million in guaranteed prizes. The millions, you pick 5 NFL teams ATS every week, $6 million there. Or claim $10 million if you can run the Survivor Gauntlet. Sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September the 7th. Use the proxy to play from anywhere. We've got a deal on the proxy. Footballcontestproxy.com will save you $50 with the promo code SGP. Next up is a 7:20 Eastern first pitch between the Cincinnati Reds and the Atlanta Braves. Hunter Green draws the start for Cincinnati. It's Ronaldo Lopez for Atlanta. I'm seeing a total of 8 on that game. And we have lines of Cincinnati plus 130 and Atlanta minus 155, Lonte.
Yeah, man, like I was saying on the Friday show, like Atlanta's been my kryptonite. I can't quit them. I'm going to stay away here, though. I think they are the right side, but I'm going to stay away and just go with another over. Freed's, he's been good. His hit rate has been up, though, and his K rate's been down. So I think that is, I guess that like trends towards an over pitcher. He just hasn't had the results. Green has been pretty good. 2 earned runs or fewer in 5 of his last 6. He's got a low hit rate, no more than 4 in 6 of his last 7. But we know he's kind of a one-trick pony. He's got the fastball going, and I think that Atlanta's a really good fastball hitting team. If they can get going and get Freed some confidence going forward, I think we can see some runs here. I'm going to go over. Cincinnati struggled a little bit today, but their offense has been fine outside of today's results. I think they put up like 6+ in back-to-back games against Washington before, only putting up, I think, 2 today. So I trust their offense to kind of get it done. So I'm going to go over this total, man.
I think I'm leaning the other way. Hunter Green has been pitching well. The only thing that gets me with Hunter Green is he hasn't faced much opposition. There's been a lot of Central teams, Pittsburgh, a couple of times
Right.
there's a Colorado thrown in there as well. But I do like him. Ronaldo Lopez has been fine. You can't really argue with his numbers. Atlanta, I mean, Philly are trying to let them in a little bit over the weekend. Philly went on a little bit of a losing streak. But Atlanta just aren't really able to take advantage. They're still not playing particularly well. Every time you look at the record, they're 5-5 in the last 10 games, Atlanta. It's kind of all they do. So I may be a low key one here, and I'll take that under the total, which was 8.5. Next up is a 7:40 Eastern first pitch between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Minnesota Twins. Left-handed pitcher Ranger Suarez goes for the Phillies. Bailey Ober goes for the Twins. Now, I haven't seen any lines on this game, and this is a game I very much would like to see some lines on, because I quite fancy Minnesota here. I think this will be an underdog. It'll be close. Ranger Suarez is regressing, and people called this, people predicted it. 10-4 with a 2.76 ERA. On the face of it, it's great. But he's just in a really bad run of form. His last 3 games, he's given up 4, 5, and 6 earned runs, multi-walks every time. He's lost the last 2 of those. Philly had lost 3 in a row before today, so just wobbling a little bit. And with Bailey Ober, it's the complete opposite. Has faced fairly weak opposition, I'll give him that. The White Sox, Detroit, Seattle, who don't score loads, and he's faced Oakland twice as well. But he's only given up 8 earned runs in his last 5 starts. So I'm going to give the Twins a chance here. If they can get one over on the Phillies. I mean, the Twins have lost 3 games in a row as well, but they are better at home. They've got a much better home record than they do on the road. So yeah, give me Bailey Ober and the Twins here, Lonte.
Yeah, I like the Twins too. Hopefully we can get them at a plus price with Suarez on the mound. But yeah, Suarez is downtrending. Phillies didn't have the best weekend, 1-5 in the last 6. They're hitting right around 222, so offense is kind of taking a hit. And the pitching is, I think, offense dependent. Like a lot of those pitchers, if they aren't getting a ton of run support or they're trying to play from behind, they're not the same. I mean, we can pretty much say that about all pitchers, but some pitchers are better than others in that situation. But I think the Phillies are one of the worst teams when it comes to performing when the offense is not like giving you as much run support. So I like Minnesota here. They've struggled as of late, 500 in their last 10. They do hit lefties really well, 275, 5.2 runs per 9 off of lefties. So I think this is a good spot for Minnesota at home. Did they get swept this weekend? Yeah, I think they got swept this weekend. So not a good showing for them. They need to win the series and win it fast, especially for me for that division bet. But yeah, I like Minnesota. I like Minnesota to keep it going. Luckily for us, Cleveland's on a slide too, so it's pretty much staying right on pace. But they could have been about 2 games back. Even if they would have split this weekend, they would have been a lot better. So I like Minnesota. Probably going to be on the over as well.
Lonte talking through his pocket there. 8:05 Eastern first pitch. The Chicago White Sox at the Texas Rangers. It is Eric Fedde for the White Sox. Michael Lorenzen goes for Texas. No lines up on this game at all. I mean, this was a 10-second handicap, really. It's Road Fedde, unfortunately, whose ERA is nearly a solid 3 runs behind that of home Eric Fedde. And Michael Lorenzen, I like him. He's been pitching really well. He's someone I always kind of have my eye on, Lorenzen. I was a little bit disappointed with the Rangers this weekend that they didn't play Baltimore ever so slightly harder. I think they got the win today. They saved the last game of the series today. Yeah, they got a 3-2, but they couldn't get to quite a lot of the Baltimore pitching this weekend. But Road Fedde against Texas with Lorenzen. Lorenzen is going quite well. He got shelled last time at the Angels, but his last home start against the Tampa Bay Rays, he went 5 scoreless. So yeah, not very original pick here, but I can't get away from a Texas run line, Lonte.
Yeah, I'm with you. Pretty easy handicap for me. I mean, the White Sox 10-39 on the road. They're 1-9 in their last 10. Actually, 1-10 in their last 11 because they lost today. So that's 7 losses in a row. I think it's a get right spot for Texas. I was disappointed in Texas as well. Lost 2 bets on them, and of course, Mal, I didn't bet them today, and they win. Of course, that's just how it happens. So I thought that was a tough weekend for them after playing well to end the All-Star break. I think they ended up winning 7 of their last 10 before the All-Star break, and then they come out and play like that. And Baltimore has struggled, so I was kind of disappointed in that as well. But I think this is a get right spot for them. So Texas run line for me as well.
Okay, next game on the card is 8:05 Eastern first pitch between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs. It is Tobias Myers, we like saying that, for the Brewers, and Javier Assad will go for the Cubbies. Just checking the lines because I hadn't seen any last time. Still no lines on this game. For Milwaukee, I like Myers. He's been interesting to watch. He's a good watch. He pitched 8 innings scoreless last time out against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And generally, he's been really good. He's got a 113 whip, which I think is a good indication of his overall control. 256 road ERA. And he's got 5 games started against NL Central opposition, and he's pitched well in division, a 3.12 ERA. So no reason to think Myers won't go well here. The slightly alien environment might be the thing that puts you off. And Javier Assad has just been really average. He's not going much length at all. Barely gets out of the 5th inning. A couple of his starts have been 2 or 3. He hasn't struck out a batter in his last 2 starts, which is fairly remarkable for any old starting pitcher. Even if swing and miss isn't your thing, you normally get 1 or 2. 2 starts, 2 consecutive starts without the punch. He's a bit weird. And he's not putting the Cubs in a position to win games. As simple as that sounds. So I'll take the Brewers here. I think they'd probably be a slight favourite, but I don't think there'll be much in it. I don't think they'll be too prohibitive. I don't mind the Brewers as a little better here, Lonte.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna go the other way. I like Chicago here. They've been hitting righties pretty well last 10, right around 275 in the last 10, 4.8 runs per 9. Myers, like you mentioned, he's been okay, but he hasn't been that good against the White Sox, the Cubs. 7 earned runs on 11 hits in 2 starts versus them. He lost both of those starts. These games between these 2 teams are usually fairly competitive. Milwaukee's won 6 of 10 head-to-head, 6 of the last 10 head-to-head. Like most of those have been competitive games. But I think Assad, like if he can just be, get us to the bullpen. The Chicago bullpen has been one of the best in the league in the last 10 games. If you just look at some of the just like simple metrics like ERA, the ERA is 0.79. They're allowing 0.79 runs per 9. Opponents batting under 200 against them to the bullpen. So if he can kind of get to the bullpen with a lead, maybe 2-1, 1-0, I think the bullpen will be able to take him home. So I hope you are right, Mal, and I can get Chicago at a dog price here because I'll be on them for sure.
Okay, so a bit of a crossfire there. We move on once we've mentioned Rhythm, one of our partners here. Rhythm have got all the AI picks and props from any market you want, all the sports that are going on at the moment. Rhythm are all over it. Really good on the golf, actually. Enjoyed their markets this weekend. Top 5, top 10, top 20 picks, stuff like that. Really good on the WNBA as well as the golf. Rhythm. Use their AI caddy. You can get some great data insights. You can customize your own golf betting model as well using Rhythm's tools. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Next game on the card is an 8:10 Eastern first pitch between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Kansas City Royals. D-backs have Yilba Diaz going. Left-handed pitcher Cole Reagans goes for the Kansas City Royals. This game has been thoroughly off the board. This is quite interesting game, Lonte. Yilba Diaz, 23-year-old kid. He's had 2 starts and he's gone very, very well. So goes up against Reagans here. Fun spot.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good series. I think this is one of the more underrated series this week. Arizona's won 7 of 10, 5.6 runs per 9. Offense have been solid on the road, but you are going against Cole Reagans. They are fine against lefties. But what I'm more concerned with is like they're inconsistent. Like they've been playing well right now, but we all know that they kind of can tail off. And Kansas City, I mean, albeit it was against the White Sox, their offense kind of woke up and they look good. Their bullpen has been really good. ERA just under 2.4. Arizona's bullpen has been incredible in the last 10. ERA under 2. So I'm looking at a low-scoring game here, maybe a 3-2 type of game. I'm going to go under, Mal. I'm going to go under. I'm guessing it'll be around 8, 7.5, 8 with the Reagans on the mound. But Arizona, too inconsistent for me. They're a buy team for me coming out of the break. I know Scott got them to make the playoffs at a plus price, so I'm rooting for him. And I think Arizona is going to be a bound team, but I just don't know about this spot.
Yeah, I don't think the total will be too low with Reagan's on the mound. He's been going well, but hasn't been spectacular. It's the strikeouts, obviously, the thing that catch your eye with him. And Yelber Diaz has 2 starts and pitched really, really well. I think the D-backs are going to be a problem team. They're one of the teams I think we can make some money on the second half of the season. But my handicap was the same as yours. I think a low-scoring game. Reagan's game log there, 6-1, 4-2, 7-2, 4-1, 5-1. So that's four out of 5 would have gone under. Kansas City had a decent weekend, and a comfortable weekend, actually. Swept the Chicago White Sox. So they'll be well placed for this tomorrow. But yeah, I think we can see a little bit of a pitching duel. Maybe a first 5 under, actually, if you wanted to take the bullpens out of it. 8:40 Eastern first pitch. The Boston Red Sox at the Colorado Rockies. Tanner Houck will go for the Red Sox. Left-handed pitcher Austin Gomber for the Rockies, who are plus 155 at home. Boston here are minus 185, and the total is set at 10. I enjoyed the Rockies this weekend. They picked up a couple of wins, both at underdog prices, actually. Kyle Freeland and I can't remember the other one. I think we faded Logan Webb maybe the other night. They lost today, but they won the series, and at similar prices to what they are here, plus 155 against the Boston Red Sox. Tanner Houck is reliable, I think would be the word to use for him. He's got 1 bad start against the Padres, who's been pitching well, and Boston have been winning his games. He has a 191 road ERA, which is pretty special. This is his debut in Coors, so we'll see how he goes here. He just needs to control his walks. That could be an issue, so we'll have to see how that goes for Houck. Austin Gomber's been struggling, but he's good at home. Oddly enough, 3.54 home ERA. And he has faced some tough opposition on the road recently. So maybe I think his numbers could be slightly inflated. And he will be happier back here in Coors. I think this total is too high. We have to take it on trust that Houck's going to be able to throw at this altitude. But the 10's too high for me. I'm very happy to take an under, Lonte.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado got me as well. Did the same thing with them as I did with the Rangers. I had a nice size bet on Logan Webb. They lose, and of course they win today. They lose 2, and then they win the last one that I don't bet. But I'm going to stay away from the side now. I'm going to root for you, but hopefully I can get Boston's team total to go over, and Houck can just shut down Colorado. So we can get a nice 5-6-0 Boston win. I think both of us can win. High hit rate for Gomber, 4+ earned runs in 4 of his last 5 starts. Tanner Houck has been really good on the road. He's had 4 straight great road starts. The Boston offense, 274 in their last 10, 4.7 runs per 9, 9.5 hits. So I think they'll be able to explode in Coors. So I like the Boston team total to go over.
Next up is a 9:40 Eastern first pitch between the Houston Astros and the Oakland Athletics. Spencer Arrighetti for Houston. Left-handed pitcher Hogan Harris will go for the A's. Game currently is off the board. Lonte, Houston pretty much played the same exact game every day against Seattle. Actually, a few more runs today. Seattle might pinch this last one, scoring a few runs. But yeah, Arrighetti is one I've been looking towards to the second half of the season. I think he's going to go well, Lonte.
You do, man. Listen, I was talking about Oakland was one of my bet on teams coming out of the break. They've been, pretty hot right now. I mean, I know it's the Angels, but the offenses look really good. I made money on them now. They had the bases loaded when I last looked. They were up 3-2. So hopefully they can put another one across. I got the run line today. I mean, they're hitting the ball extremely well. Nearly 300, 8.9 runs per 9. Oh yeah, that's great. 10.5 hits. So I mean, Houston's hitting, just under 260 versus lefty. So I think we can see some runs here, man. I like the over. Don't really trust Arrighetti to kind of get it done, but Houston has dominated Oakland. They're 6-1 head-to-head. All of those came in May. 5 of those wins were by multiple runs. So that kind of concerns me. That's why I'm staying away from Oakland. But if I can get a nice plus price on Oakland, Yeah, I'll probably throw them in like a round robin or something, but I like the over here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just want to take Houston. There will be a short price. I like Arrighetti. He's been pitching really, really well. His last 2 starts, he's given up 3 earned runs just across the 2. And I do think he's primed for a decent second half to the season. Hogan Harris, it's just, I find him out of trust. You've got a couple of sort of little 3-inning starts in there. Oakland's have been playing well. I'm pleased for them. Oakland, every time Oakland get a little bit better than we thought, they've swept the Angels, or they're going to sweep the Angels this weekend. 3 wins in a row, and a couple of games behind the Angels. Yeah, I mean, they're competitive at home. Then be back to 500 at home when they win this game today. But Houston, I just think, are flexing their muscles a little bit. They are going to lose today, but they've won the series at the weekend. They've got to the top of that division, and I think Houston are going to stretch their legs. So it'll be Houston. I mean, I don't know what price they're going to be. If they're a decent money line price, or you might have to find something exotic. But yeah, I lean towards Houston here. 9:40 Eastern opposition. These 2 teams have swapped opposition over the weekend. It is the LA Angels at the Seattle Mariners. Left-handed pitcher Tyler Anderson for the Angels. Bryce Miller goes for the Mariners. All these late games, unfortunately, are off the board. The Mariners, I mean, a weird weekend again, underwhelming weekend. Going to get one on the board today, but they still just don't score enough runs here. And do you give Tyler Anderson a chance against them tomorrow, Lonte?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I mean, that's the only time that the Angels are bettable, pretty much, is when Anderson's on the mound. Seattle, I mean, you just can't trust. If you can find Seattle at a plus price to miss the playoffs, I think that's a good bet. I think we all mentioned it, or maybe me and Scott mentioned it. I'm not sure if you were on board with that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, agree.
So I think that's a good price. I mean, they just don't have any consistency with their bats. I mean, they're like I said, they're playing well today, but they didn't play well offensively the last few games. Now, a credit to, of course, the pitching staff for the Astros, and not everybody has those arms. But if you look at the last 3 games, the Angels have won all 3. All of those have been 1-run games, so they've kind of snuck by. But that's just a credit to, I mean, that's just a discredit to their offense. I mean, they just can't get anything done. But prior to that, their offense has picked up against them. They scored 38 runs in the prior 8 games, or prior 7 games when facing Seattle. But it's just the last 3 that they just can't get anything going. So I can't trust Seattle. They scored 2 combined runs before tonight's game against Houston. They're hitting 221 the last 10. The Angels hitting 212. Anderson's really good. I'm going Anderson first 5, Anderson full game, and I'm going to go under. So that's a 3-for-1 special for you, Mal.
I completely agree with you. I like it. I do like Anderson. He's another pitcher I've been rooting for this season. Yep. His last time out was against Seattle. Did give up 4 earned runs, but the Angels got that win, 6-5. You just said that the Angels have been in good form against the Mariners, and it's just it is really hard to take the Mariners at any point, really.
Yeah.
It's just a real problem. And they're going to be a similar price tomorrow, and they're not going to score enough runs to make you confident at any point. So looking at the prices, I'd be getting on the Angels as well. Angels money line or Angels first 5. Final game on the card. I don't know what we can do with this much, really. It's a Cowboy time, 10:10 Eastern first pitch between the San Francisco Giants and the LA Dodgers. Left-handed pitcher Blake Snell for the Giants. The Dodgers are TBD. I'm just seeing if I can find a Dodgers pitcher here. The Dodgers have mucked me about with pitchers all weekend.
Yeah.
You know, they are actually TBD. So we've got Paxton who's going on the Sunday night game. They've got Knack slated for Tuesday, Glasnow Wednesday, Kershaw. I think Kershaw coming back
Thursday.
On Thursday, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Wroblewski. So they've got pitchers slated every day except tomorrow. I mean, I haven't got much on this. Blake Snell, it's almost a relief not to have to handicap him, Lonte, in this spot because too much. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough game for me. San Francisco is another frustrating team that I can't figure out. I mean, when I'm going against them, they win. When I'm betting on them, they lose. So I kind of try to stay away. But what I have been making money on is their first 5 overs. They've been a really good first 5 over team in the past month or so. The Dodgers usually play in high scoring affairs. 8 of the last 9 have went over. 5 of the last 9, I'm sorry, have went over. The Dodgers have 6-3 in those 9 games, but San Francisco has won 3 of the last 4. So that's something to kind of keep your eye on. I mean, the Dodgers offense is struggling. I would say this might be the bottom of the market for the Dodgers. So if you want to buy some stuff, I know I mentioned it on the on the podcast where we were previewing for the remaining after All-Star break schedule. So I think the Dodgers are going to get guys back. We see Kershaw coming back. I'm not sure what Yamamoto's deal is, or if he's like done for the year or whatever the case may be. But they're going to get guys back, and once that happens, I think they're going to roll. Mookie should be, a little bit closer to coming back as well, and they're missing him at the top of that lineup. So, I mean, I know this is not a handicap on the game, but I would look over if anything. It's hard to say with the Dodgers, who they're going to pitch, but I don't trust Blake Snell. I'm going to go over San Francisco and the Dodgers in this spot.
Yeah, looking at Blake Snell's last 2 starts, he's gone 12 innings scoreless. But even they look kind of atypical. He's striking out more batters than he normally does. But then last time he didn't walk anybody, and he always walks people. He walks minimum 3 batters. Yep. So even the fact he pitched well, I'm still not sure how much of it was by accident and how much of it was by design a little bit. He's just really, really hard to get a handle on. So I agree with everything you said about the Dodgers. Again, quite a difficult team to read. And I've said before, these West Coast teams are the teams that I feel like I know least about because I don't get to watch them as much. I can watch the first couple of hours most of the East Coast teams and the Central teams. But when you get these proper West Coast matchups, I do struggle a little bit with them. So, yeah, not much for me on that one. So I think we did all right there, Lonte. We got a lot of lines out. We got a lot of picks out. It wasn't easy at short notice as well for me on a Sunday night. But let's see if you can find us a lock and a dog, mate.
Yeah, let me find a lot of the stuff that I really like is off the board. So let me look and make sure where we can go.
Yeah, I haven't got much to choose from. I've got the 5 or 6 games with lines for me to choose.
I'm looking as well, and it's the stuff that I want to do.
I'll tell you what, mate. I've got a couple here that I like. For my dog, I'm going to stick with the Tampa Bay Rays. Okay. I just like I say, sometimes the eye test is a perfectly fine way of handicapping something. And I sat and I watched a lot of that Rays Yankees game today, and we know the form that the Yankees have been in. The Rays aren't a great side, but they're doing all right. They generally speaking do quite well against the Yankees, but Rodon isn't in good form, and the Yankees offense just isn't functioning as a whole. The sum of their parts is a little bit less than it should be. So plus 130, I'll take the Rays as a dog. I like the Mets minus 165. That's a little bit short for a lock, isn't it? But I do like the Brewers as well. I know you went against me here and you took the Cubs, but I like Tobias Myers, and I'm not thrilled with what Assad's been doing lately. So I think the Brewers can get them tomorrow. So for my luck, and I do think they'll be maybe minus 115, minus 120. I'm just guessing there. But I'll take the Brewers on the money line.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over St. Louis and Pittsburgh, 8.5 for my lock. I mentioned the struggles that Palante's had on the mound as far as on the road. And I think Pittsburgh offense has been pretty good. I know Keller has been, pitching the ball well, but St. Louis's offense has been electric the last few weeks going into the All-Star break. They picked it up again against a good Atlanta team who plays well at home. Much to my dismay, they dismantled them. But I'm going to go over that 8.5 mile. And for the dog, you like the Mets. I like the Mets. I'm going to lay the 1.5. It's slightly over plus money. You got plus 103, plus 104. I just think the Mets are in better form right now. Peterson's really good. Miami's obviously struggling against lefties. They struggle against everybody. They might struggle with me and you on the mound. But I think that the Mets are going to come out and really punch them in the mouth. So I like Peterson and the Mets to get it done. We're getting all 9 at bats, minus 1.5, plus money.
And finally, we will go with dingers. I'm going to go a little bit route one here. Atlanta Braves. The person who jumps off the page here tomorrow for me is Matt Olson for the Braves. Who are they taking on tomorrow? Hunter Green.
Yeah.
Hunter Green enjoys giving up a homer. He gave up a one in the All-Star game, I think. I can't remember. Jaron Duran, was it, who hit Hunter Green out?
Yep.
So, yeah, we can see Matt Olson do that tomorrow. So he'll be my play, Lonte.
Yeah, so let me see. I was gonna go with Jose Ramirez, but that's kind of chalk. So let's go to the Boston game. Let's go Connor Wong in Coors to get it done. Yeah, I think Gomber's been erratic at times. He's allowed 4+ runs in 4 of his last 5. A high hit rate. I think Connor Wong and Tyler O'Neill. Between one of those, I guess I would split a unit on one of those guys to kind of go yard. But I do like Connor Wong batting in that cleanup spot to kind of get some damage done. So Connor Wong for the dinger.
Yeah, looking at those Red Sox tomorrow. Tyler O'Neill does jump out. The other one who jumps out further down is Jamie Westbrook, the rookie.
Oh wow! I didn't look at him.
Yeah. You probably get a price on him. Not a hugely familiar name. So yeah, there we go. Well, thank you, Lonte. You helped me through that no end because I was a little bit less prepared than usual. You probably wouldn't notice. I was just as bad as I always am.
No,
but I appreciate
that.
And I appreciate everyone in the chat who joined in and helped up. From Gio, Bo Dunn Sports joined us later on as well, so we appreciate that. James, who had to go back to work. Callum, Sean, Ryan, et al. Lonte, have you got any Sunday night fun plans, or is it just chill time?
Nah, man, just getting ready for the week, getting ready for college football, a little bit of college basketball too. So yeah, man, just trying to stay sharp.
Excellent. It's bedtime for me Sunday night. The kids just started their school holidays this weekend, so they've now got 6 weeks off. So they'll be under my feet. Hopefully, the sun's out and they can have a nice holiday. And then we got the Olympics starts on Wednesday. Does the Olympics do much for you?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Olympics. I love watching it. It'll be actually in the States. I think it will be in LA in 2028, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the events, especially like the swimming, the track and field. It's kind of my thing. Obviously, the basketball is a thing as well. But I like to watch the sports that we normally don't get to see a lot of coverage on. So yeah, the track and field, the swimming, the diving, all that stuff. It's kind of my interest. I like to go off the the beaten path for stuff like that.
What sport, if you could do one Olympic sport, Lonte, what would you do? What would be your thing?
What would I do? That's a good question. I would do swimming. I'm a good swimmer.
Are you a good swimmer?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, man. I learned how to swim when I was like 6 years old. I love it. I love swimming. I took swimming in like college as one of my like not electoral, but one of my like opposite classes that I had to have. So yeah, man, I'm a good swimmer. I like to swim. So yeah, I would do swimming. I'll probably get smoked, but
I'm a terrible swimmer. I've got the upper body strength, like a 5-year-old girl, like proper little noodle arms. I reckon I could do something on a horse. I mean, I've only been on a horse once, but it looks all right. I think I could tame the big noble beast. I could do the old show jumping or something shit like that. Yeah, that'll do me. Excellent. Good Olympic chat. Right. Someone will be back tomorrow night. Good luck with all of your picks. We appreciate it. Until the next time, we will see you down the road. Cheers.